Hey everyone, welcome to another masterclass here where we cover the critical details that you need to capture amazing astrophotography like you see behind me over here. And today we have a special episode. We're going to be covering some photography that I did recently while I was scouting for some workshops. Announcements on that coming soon. I have some really exciting locations lined up. And we'll cover one of the photos that I captured and how I thought about it. It's a composite photo, so it's a little bit different than some of the other photos that I capture and you see here on my YouTube and on my Instagram page. So we're going to jump into Photoshop. Oh yeah, by the way, if you don't know who I am, I'm Sam, and I've been doing this astrophotography for over 4 years now. And I cover everything from deep sky astrophotography, like we covered in last week's masterclass, to the wide field astro that you see in the background behind me here with panoramas and track and stack shots. So let's jump into the Photoshop here and look at the photo. So yeah, if this thumbnail brought you into the video here, we have this picture here that I captured the other night with the moon rising with the Milky Way overhead. And so some of you might wonder how this is possible, because the moon is very bright and the Milky Way is very dim, and generally having light in the sky is not very good for your ability to capture the detail of the Milky Way. And this is very true, but once the moon is in like phase below 50%, I believe this is probably a 40% moon, and it's right on the horizon, you can still see the details of the Milky Way in the sky, even with your eyes while the moon is rising. One big advantage of capturing the moon light is that it can allow the foreground to be lit differently, as you can see here, and when we look at the raw photos that will probably become even more pronounced. So yeah, so this image is actually a composite of 3 separate images. We'll talk a little bit about maybe what that means, I guess. So if you're not familiar with what a composite means that there is not like a single image in a single place. So a simple composite would be, I take a single exposure of the Milky Way and a single exposure of the foreground, put those together. Maybe they're not taken in the same location, maybe not even on the same day, but like if they could be in the same day, same location, same place. So people have different definitions of this. So why would you want to do this? One reason would be like the conditions where you want to capture the image are not perfect. So maybe you go to a location on a cloudy night and you want to compose it with the Milky Way. So you don't have the option to go back to that location again. So you could go out there on that cloudy night and capture the foreground, and then capture your Milky Way on another night, and then based on the direction that you were looking for the foreground, you could plan where your sky should be located, and then you can put those together. Another thing is if you want to enhance the Milky Way more than with the moonlight, so you can do something like what I've done here, where most of the Milky Way stack was captured before the moon rose, so that the detail of the sky would be cleaner above the moon. And then also, like in this particular case, I liked the way the moon starred against the rock. And you see here, like this starring pattern looks a lot better, in my opinion, in this image over the other images that I was capturing later on with the full foreground. And I'll show you those images as we go along here. So let's look at first the sky image here. So this is a single exposure of the sky. I think the settings here were aperture f/4. Exposure was 60 seconds long, and I think ISO 1600. So you can see here it's a clean image. If we look at the histogram over on the left side, we have plenty of exposure to deal with here, right? The sky part of the exposure, which is the red, green, and blue hills that you're seeing here, so to speak, in this histogram. Like those are showing the sky. The the spike on the left, that's the foreground, which we don't really care about for purposes of creating a sky image. And you can see it's well within the range. There's no clipped lowlights, there's no clipped highlights here, right? Everything is pretty solid with these exposures. So I captured probably 20 or 30 of these exposures, and then I used a stacking program to blend them together. We're not going to cover that today. I have other videos on my channel covering a different stacking software in both like PixInsight and both for Windows and Mac, other options that are more lightweight and also either very cheap or free of cost that you can easily get started with without going into too much detail on that right here, but like those videos are available if you need that information. So yeah, that's the sky. And so then we'll look at this next photo here. So as the moon was rising, I was like noticing that the star against the rock looked really cool. So I quickly recomposed my sky down to a foreground image. This image is actually not bad by itself, but I was actually thinking maybe I could actually even get a better result for the foreground than this one. But I really like the way the sun, or the moon, sorry, is shining against the rock here. This pattern looks really clean, and it's right on the edge of the horizon, which I really like that. In my subsequent foreground shots, all the moon was up in the sky. We'll look at one in a sec here. And we can add some brightness here so you can see the whole foreground. So this is a very similar area to where I was shooting the sky from. I believe, I don't even think I moved my tripod for this particular shot. I went from shooting my track 60-second shots to shooting this foreground. I believe this foreground is captured with the exact same settings as the sky we just looked at, except obviously I turned off my tracker so that the foreground would be clear. So this one, I liked the where the position of the moon was on the sky, and then we'll look at the actual foreground that I use. So we'll probably need to brighten this a little bit. Again, you can see here, if you look at the histogram before I make it brighter, you can see that the whole image should not be clipped. I believe the blues might be a little bit clipped in this exposure, or it's very close. It's hard to tell. Probably it's very close. But like you can see, this is bright enough to create an image. Another thing that you'll note is that the foreground has nice light here. This is from the moon shining across the rock face here, and so we can create a quick view of this here so we can see the details. Yeah, so if we stretch the image here, you can see that you've got the moon rising. So the moon is a little bit higher up in the sky in this particular photo. So I did not particularly care for the moon position, and the starring pattern against the cliff canyon wall there was not really as good as the previous photo. And so when I saw this, I was like, I really like this composition. Man, you can see the canyon here. You can see a canyon wall over there. Like there's just like all kinds of canyon walls going on in this. And then this probably a juniper tree sitting here, right? Like really fills in the far right side of the foreground. The only thing I think I could improve is there's actually the lookout point there. Probably I could go stand there and put myself in the image. That might add one more level of complexity to make this a cool image. But yeah, so this is the foreground that I captured. And so once we've, again, like to make sure like we have all the details, I think this again is the exact same settings, 60-second exposure, f/4, and aperture, and then ISO 1600 to capture all the details of the full scene. So I think it captured most of the details here, right? I can go pretty far with this, and yeah. It doesn't look like the blues are clipped. If they are, it's very little. But yeah, you can see here that it looks really nice, even without really a whole lot of editing. So yeah, if you're wondering why all like these photos are pretty red, That's because I'm shooting with an Astro modified camera, and the Astro modified camera has the filter removed that allows in more light in the hydrogen alpha area, which would allow me to see more details in the sky. If we go back to the sky image, we can look at that. So something like the nebulas here, right? I believe this is the Lagoon Nebula and the Trifid Nebula. Both of these are showed in a lot more detail than you would get with other cameras, a standard camera. If you go through here, there's even more nebulas that you can see throughout the Milky Way here. So yeah, that's why the images all have a reddish hue, if you were wondering on that. All right, cool. So we've got the three images. We've got the sky image. So this is an example of one exposure out of the probably 20 or 30 or so that I stacked. And then we have the first foreground here that I was not completely satisfied with, but I really like the way the moon was positioned here. And then we've got the actual foreground that I used for the image. So we'll talk a little bit about how I compose these. Go over to this here. Let's see if there's any comments or questions so far. If you've got those, just leave those in the chat. All right, I don't see anything right now, so we'll keep going. So you can see this is a fully edited image that I created here. You can see that I've removed the red hue that was in the full sky and then also in the foreground. So you can see that you have the foreground that we looked at with the tree composed here, and then the moon here, and then the sky. So if we want to quickly look at the layers here, we can remove all the layers. All right, so let's do this first. All right, so we've got like a foreground here. So you can see here we've got the foreground with some masking on it. So you can see my particular masking here was maybe not as precise as sometimes, but a lot of times you can actually get away with blending not fully accurate masks with your sky, especially if the sky is darker and so is the horizon. So you can see when I add the sky back in, you end up with this. And I believe what I did here is I did several things. So I did several layers. So I edited both of the, in this particular layer here. Sorry, this is not fully like detailed, but so this image is not a single exposure. So what I did is I took the exposure that we looked at here for this foreground and took this part of the sky and the moon rising here, this area with this starring pattern, and I took this image here, which I clearly overstretched here, this image here, and I edited them together into a single image where the only thing coming from the first composition was this moon area of the image. And so I blended and masked that into this exposure. So I have a single foreground exposure that has the moon detail that I was looking for. So if you look really closely, you can probably tell that where the mask is here, but like on a very quick glance or on social media, no one would ever notice that there is some sort of masking and editing going on there. And so then I took my stacked sky that I edited and added that in here, so you can see the sky and the foreground composite together. But then I still wasn't completely satisfied with this because I could still see this halo over the moon. So I wanted to do a little bit of work to remove that. So I added this, which helps a good amount. It's still not completely perfect. Then I added some more improvements there. And then I added a final brightness mask to put the focus in the center of the image. So with this image, you can see the whole foreground is super bright, but I wanted to really focus and make it look like a really nice night image. and then have the really most of the light in the center of the canyon here on these rocks, and then have the moonlight shining across on the tree and really have that area of the foreground be the focus. And in order to do that, I added a vignette using the brightness in contrast here, and then I used the radial gradient tool, which is here, the gradient tool, and then I chose a radial gradient and then selected the right area here to create the mask that allows the light to be focused in this image towards the center where I want it to be. So yeah, that's how I thought about and created this particular image. I think we'll probably keep this the recording short today because I have a lot of things I'm working on, and I'm excited to share those with you in the upcoming days and weeks. But yeah, this is a little bit different from what we did the last few weeks, where we talked about the Deep Sky Astro and also planning a session for yourself if you're going out to shoot. So yeah, if you have any questions about that or any questions about editing, just feel free to reach out to me. I have a community down here somewhere that you can join, and then you can go there, ask me questions. I have office hours every week. I'm generally available over there on a regular basis. So yeah, I think next week we'll probably end up covering some probably more of a active, like capturing images type of scenario. Obviously this happens at 5 p.m. and everything you're seeing right now is lit by the sun because it's right now like the sun is up and you cannot see dark skies now. But we can talk about different trackers, I think, and I have some exciting news around that as well. So I just want to make sure that whatever tracker you guys have, you have the information you need to go out and capture images on your own. So yeah, look for another session next week. I really appreciate you guys joining. If you have questions, let me know. If not, we will wrap this up for today and hope you have clear skies wherever you are.